What up, world? Welcome to a new episode of I Bleed Sports. Oh, yeah. As you know, I am the host, BrandonJaneau, and like always, on all podcast platforms everywhere. Always on all podcast platforms everywhere. BrandonJaneauShow, social media platforms, Instagram threads, BrandonJaneau, Facebook, the BrandonJaneauShow, and of course, TikTok, BrandonJaneauShow. Go follow me on all those social media platforms. I would appreciate it if you did. Would appreciate it if you did. Really, where you go is the YouTube channel, Brandon Janeau Show YouTube channel, man. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. Comment. If I see the comment, I'm gonna try to comment, man. Do it all, man. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel, man. Comment, like the vids, like the shorts. It helps in the algorithm. If you do, get more people to watch, man. Like I've been saying, man, 2025 is almost over. Damn. We are almost to the stretch. It's crazy to think that literally we are what a week or two, like 2 weeks from Christmas. That is crazy. What Christmas is New Year Christmas Eve is what, a Wednesday? Christmas is a Thursday? Yeah. Because tomorrow's the 10th and that's Wednesday. So yeah. Damn. That's crazy. That's fucking nuts. But anyway, man. Um anyway, man. Like I said, this is I Bleed Sports. Now, this isn't a traditional I Bleed Sports that I do, which I'll be back in 2026 to do an I Bleed Sports. And it's not like I did yesterday when I did the college football playoff special where I talked about the college football playoffs. This is the I Bleed Sports Awards. I have done this now, for the third, I want to say second year, maybe? My second year doing it. I think I started in 2022, 2023. This is the second year. I think I've said third, but I think it's the second, if I'm not mistaken. This is my second year doing the IB Sports Awards, which has been fun to do. I give out my awards of sports and what's going on in sports, man. So yeah, man, this is fun. I'm gonna go through every category and explain why I have these people, why I'm giving them their flowers in 2025, why I feel like in the sports world they were the best of the best. And yeah, so let's really get into it, man. Man, oh man. Start this off. What's some negative? Let's get this shit out of the way. Let's start this shit off with some negative. Let's get this shit out the way. Disappointment is a hard thing to get over, man. Disappointment. Man, oh man, oh man. For me, my disappointment team of the year. Let's get this shit out the way. Let's get this shit started. My disappointing team of the year is the Kansas City Chiefs. They started all 2025 getting back to a Super Bowl for the third consecutive year. Everybody thought, oh man, here we go. They're going to win three straight. It's crazy. They showed up to New Orleans and absolutely got their ass whooped. They must have had a couple hurricanes on bourbon because they got their ass handed to them. That shit was bad. Philly pretty much dribbled these niggas off the wall. That shit was bad, bro. What was the score? 40-22, I think it was like, but the actual score was like 27-0. Nigga, they were killing these dudes. They literally had an entire first half where they just didn't even get past the 50-yard line. You realize that? They had an entire half where they didn't even get past the 50-yard line. I was just on social media, TikTok, before I even got on here, and there was a creator that was like, "Oh man, dynasties, they start to crack, and it's not like all of a sudden. They've been cracking And that's exactly what I've been saying about Kansas City. It's not like Kansas City like we haven't seen, and this is something that people do not understand. Kansas City has been a pretty average fucking team for a very long time. They've just been able to overcome it. Now, yes, you can say with the flags and referees giving them, breaks and here and there. And now, like I said earlier this year with Kansas City, the luck is just run out. Nobody did. They're not going to get those penalties. They're not going to get that situation. Patrick Mahomes right now is in a situation where his best player is a tight end that cares more about what his now fiance is doing on a tour than his ass being on the football field. Which I hope Travis Kelce fucking retires at the end of this year. And it's not because I don't like Travis Kelce. I just feel like your mind is too fucking far gone off the field, bro. And if you are the only way you can get somewhat of a spark like Sunday where you're wrestling fucking cornerbacks after the play is over, at some point somebody gonna fucking nail you, bro. And they gonna fucking hurt you. And they gonna hurt you bad to the point where they're gonna start calling out, oh man, that dude need to be arrested. No, 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 no. He don't need to be arrested. You should have never started that shit. Kansas City's whole year has been cognizant of what is a complete and utter reminder of a team that think that this shit was gonna last forever. And now it's the luck is starting to run out. That's not a shot to them. It is what it is. They've been at the top of the mountain, at the top of the food chain for what, 7, 8 years, damn near a decade. They've been at the top of the mountain. And now it's time for the mountain to find somebody new. It's okay. They might rise again one day. Who the fuck knows? Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and them. They had a decade where I mean, yeah, like I always said about the Patriots, though, the Patriots always was somewhat competitive. This is the first time in a very long time where Kansas City just looks like a team that they're not going to wake up. There's nothing you can do. After last night with the Chargers, the Chargers winning, the Broncos won this Sunday. There's nothing about this NFL season that the Kansas City Chiefs could physically do to fix any of this shit. They have already exonerated all their expectations, and if they lose Sunday, they're pretty much out the playoffs. You have now lost to the Texans, the Chargers. You got swept by the Chargers. You lost to the Texans, and you lost to the Bills. And you lost to the Jaguars, who also are leading the division in the AFC South. So even in that sense, you're out. You literally cannot lose Sunday, because if you lose Sunday, you have no chance in hell of making the playoffs, because you've lost to the Bills, you lost to the Texans, you lost to the Jaguars, and you've now got swept by the Chargers. You can't make the playoffs. Like even in that sense, you can't even make the playoffs, because the division right now in the AFC South is between the Texans and the Jaguars, and you just lost both, and you lost already to both of those teams. You guys, and if you get beat Sunday by the Chargers, you got swept by the Chargers. And already the Bills also beat you. So there's no way around this shit. Sunday is literally do or die. You either win or you lose. Either win or lose, and you are out. And I don't even think if you win Sunday, that guarantees that you're in, because the Chargers could still win the next 3 games and your ass still out. There's nothing you can do. You have to hope and pray that the Texans, the Bills, or somebody just falls the fuck off a cliff for the next 4 fucking weeks. And I don't think it's going to happen. So you're basically playing for your season Sunday. The beginning of this year for you to lose the way you lost in the Super Bowl, the way you lost in the Super Bowl is what I kept telling people for a very long time. You don't lose like that and then turn around next year and say, oh yeah, we got this. And then you didn't do anything to fix your problems. Kansas City is the biggest disappointment of the year because of how far they have been. And now they're starting to fucking tumble. And they can't fix it. And like I said a couple weeks ago, when I had this I Bleed Sports, I literally said, I can see Kansas City looking around saying, all right, Travis Kelce, thank you for your service, but either you move the fuck on, you retire, or we're gonna have to start looking otherwise at you and say, maybe we need to trade you. Andy Reid, do you really want to go through a rebuild? Because that's exactly what the fuck they're about to do. That defense is old. They haven't fixed a damn thing. You got rid of L'Jarius Sneed, who was your number one corner, because you thought Trent McDuffie can handle himself, and he hasn't done it. Everything about this team, and here's the thing: the Texans' offensive line suck, and yet when it mattered most, C.J. Stroud got away from your defense and put the ball on his receivers' hands and made the big plays. Where they used to be Patrick Mahomes, and now he can't do it anymore. And I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes will ever like oh man, he can't do it ever. No, Patrick Mahomes could do it probably one day, but that offensive line is bad. You have no receivers, and you kept patchworking and shit until now you have no receivers, and your best number one weapon is an old ass tight end that can't get open anymore. Now you have a problem. And then you don't have a running game. Everything about Kansas City is exactly what it's supposed to be. Like I said, the Patriots was somewhat competitive for a good stretch of time. You can sit there and say, well, whatever about the Patriots, but the Patriots were competitive. This is why I kept saying Kansas City was going to either finish third or fourth in the division. I kept saying this for shit. I kept saying this shit for years. Kansas City was going to finish third or fourth in the AFC West. I just felt like there were better teams in better situations. I thought the Raiders would be better, but I knew the Broncos and the Chargers would at least eventually wake the fuck up. And right now, that loss last night just single-handedly dead shot at the Kansas City Chiefs' chances of getting in the playoffs. And they are my disappointment team of 2025, the Kansas City Chiefs. My disappointed, my disappointment, my disappointed athlete. Who am I disappointed in when it comes to the athlete? And that to me, it's Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez. Oh, you son of a bitch, you. You know, it's funny being a boxing fan, watching that fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo, and you're sitting there saying to yourself, man, Crawford is beating the shit out this dude. Like, this is crazy. Canelo, I don't think ever really. And I chose Canelo to win the fight because I felt like he's more of the middleweight. He's been in the middleweight division for a long time. He's more of that guy. But I wasn't surprised that Crawford beat his ass, and I'm not surprised at all. But this is why I say Canelo Alvarez to the fanboys of Canelo Alvarez. He's a GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's the best thing that's ever done it. But when I watch Canelo Alvarez, I always say he's accessible to a fucking jab, and he can't fucking stop it. No matter what, he can't defend a jab to save his fucking life. He can't defend it. Every time he's lost, Floyd, the first fight to Triple G, Dimitri Bivol. This is why I kept saying if he fought David Benavidez would have killed Canelo. Like, because what is the one power shot that David Benavidez has? He's got a lot. But that jab and that far ass reach, you can't get to him quick enough. And you saw it in the Crawford fight. Crawford stood in the pocket right with him and was jabbing the shit out of him and popping his ass every chance he got. This is why I keep telling people, man, as much as you all give Canelo Alvarez all his praise, give me the one fight where somebody was of his age bracket or in his somewhat air where he got in the ring with that person and he absolutely positively dominated them. That's the thing. I just don't give him that. I don't look at Canelo like a lot of people look at Canelo. I look at him as he's dope. He's a good boxer, but his legacy will always be tethered to the fact that, bro, you ducked a lot of fighters. No matter what the fuck people want to say, you ducked a lot of fighters. You didn't fight Triple G until they threw literally almost $100 million at you. Until then, bro, you were never going to fight Triple G. There was never a time when you were going to fight Triple G. And once the boxing commissions started to sit there and say you can make up your own fucking mind, and you didn't want to fight David Benavidez, you didn't want to fight David Morrell, so they said, you know what, fuck this shit. We're going to light heavyweight. I ain't got time for this shit. But he is definitely my my biggest disappointment of the year for athletes. That ass whooping on Netflix was funny to see. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny to see. You know what you hate more than anything? And this is what it is, man. Now we got out the negative. We got the negative. I'm gonna come back to the negative because the negative is still gonna be here because I gotta get that done. But let's start it off with this. My team's on the rise in 2025, and that to me, it started in the NFL. I'm going back to the NFL, and that to me is the New England Patriots. Um, I was on the New England bandwagon all year. I said New England was going to win a division, which they have a chance to do Sunday if they beat the Buffalo Bills. If they win, they pretty much clinch the division. There's nothing Buffalo could do after that. Even in that sense, the Patriots are 11-2. Bills are like what 9-4, 8-5, some shit like that. Even if the Patriots lose Sunday, they just got to win out and they get the division. That's gotta suck if you're Buffalo. Like all they gotta do is just win the fuck out, and they still win the division. Damn. But New England, I felt like had the best offseason. They had the best draft, free agency, and they signed the best coach in Mike Vrabel. And I said that shit for a very long time. Everything about this team makes sense. And now they got this late ass bye where now in the next couple of weeks they're the most refreshed and pretty much you know healthy fucking team moving forward because of this bye. At this stage of the season, like you're going into what would it be with this week 15? Yeah, week 15. You're going into week 15 after a bye. That's fucking crazy, bro. I still think they end up with the number one seed. I don't think Denver beats Kansas City on Christmas night. I think even with Kansas City, possible season is probably over. Kansas City's going to still try to scrape up a game and catch Denver off guard, and I think they will. I think New England ends up with the number one seed. I think New England's had the best year, best off season. I said this when the season started that I thought the New England Patriots will be that team when it was all said and done, and that is why they are my team on the rise in 2025. My athlete on the rise in 2025, and that to me is Paige Beckers of the Dallas Wings. I know some people don't watch WNBA. That's y'all. Paige Beckers is incredible. She had a couple of injuries in college that really derailed her greatness. But to see her still get picked number one, go to Dallas. I know people sitting there saying, "Well, Dallas got the number one spot again. How can she really be that great?" The team around her isn't great. Doesn't change the fact that that girl is a fucking beast. I don't know who Dallas is going to draft to pair up with her, but whoever they get is going to be very fucking interesting. I did Paige Beckers. I think she won Rookie of the Year this year in the WNBA. She just needs some help. She gets some horses with her. It's on and popping. Like I don't think that y'all understand. Like, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Paige Beckers is what y'all think Caitlin Clark is. Paige Beckers is what y'all think Caitlin Clark is. I ain't gonna get too deep into that. That's a whole other conversation. My overrated, overrated player of the year is Arch Manning of Texas. Now, Arch played better at the end of the year. Doesn't change the facts that everybody was sitting there giving this motherfucker Heisman and saying he's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen before this motherfucker even took a snap. Y'all was sitting there saying he's the best Manning. I heard some motherfucker say he's the best Manning. I'm like, damn, nigga, did Peyton die? What the fuck going on with this shit? I know Eli ain't great like that, but damn, man, Eli got 2 Super Bowl rings. What the fuck we talking about? And you put this motherfucker, dumped this motherfucker in the SEC. It was like, good luck. and, and, and the SEC ain't even that great of a conference like it used to be. But I damn sure wasn't sitting there like, oh yeah, he's gonna kill. Like, bro, his first game, you saw immediately people trying to make excuses. And then he lost to Florida, and people were still trying to find excuses. And then he lost to Georgia, and it was just, oh my God. Did he play better at the end of the year? Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that so many people sat there with a straight face on cameras like this, with a straight face recording themselves talking about some Arch Manning is the best quarterback in the SEC without this motherfucker even taking a snap. Could that statement ring true next year? Possibly. 2025, he's fucking overrated. For what he actually did this year, he had more what the fuck games than great, like more of the what the fuck games than, yeah, he's the guy that was never there. Like I watched this situation all season long, and I kept telling fucking people, I'm like, y'all giving a kid praise, and y'all don't even know what the fuck he's really made of. Like I said, if how he's ending to 2025 season rolls into 2026, then yes, he deserves to be the #1 guy. He's growing into the best quarterback. He is that guy. We're talking about just straight off the season that he had in 2025. I don't look at the fucking end of the year, which he had a great end of his season. Great for him. But for the majority of the season, that motherfucker was Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like that motherfucker, that's the Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That motherfucker didn't do none of that shit y'all thought he would do. And that is why he's my overrated player of the year, because it's more about the people's expectations. I didn't have this many expectations on him. I said, I got to see how he plays. Everybody else set this fucking kid up for failure. I don't know why would y'all do that, but y'all did that. And that's y'all business. Not mine. That's y'all business. Not mine. Y'all business. Do y'all thing. Do y'all thing, man. Do y'all thing. Speaking of overrated, let's keep it overrated. And let's talk about these coaches, because the players can only do so much because the coaches put the game plans in. And for me, most overrated coaches of 2025 goes to 2 men. I couldn't split this. I couldn't just give it to one. I had to split this motherfucker. Oh, y'all both getting this. It is the 2 coaches that's now on the unemployment line, and that is Brian Kelly and James Franklin, formerly head coach of LSU and Penn State. Y'all both belong here. I never in a million years ever believed in Brian Kelly in LSU. It's the same way I feel about Lane Kiffin in LSU, but I get to that next year. Brian Kelly with LSU was never going to work. I know people think that's crazy. I know people think I'm lying. I just never believed Brian Kelly and LSU was going to ever work. I just didn't see it. I'm like, you want him to win you, get you back to SEC prominence when he can barely do that shit in Notre Dame. He had tons of games where he had to show up and play, coach against these Florida States, these Clemsons, these USCs, all the, and he just shit the bed when it mattered most, especially if the teams were good. He just shit the bed when it mattered most. And you want him to now come into LSU, the SEC, and do what? Because what you thinking he's going to do and what he actually could do is 2 different things. How the fuck our offense got worse when he became the head coach is fucking beyond me. And like I have said for the last 2 years, it is clear as motherfucking day. Jaden Daniels is the reason for why the LSU Tigers offense stayed afloat for the first 2 years of Brian Kelly's coaching years. His first couple of years at LSU, it was because Jaden Daniels. There's no way debating that no more. You gave him Garrett Nussmeier last year in the running game was fucking putrid. It had no running game. All you could do is throw the ball. And Brian Kelly's supposed to be this great offensive minded coach. And somebody's still gonna sit there and get his motherfucker job in the next couple of years because they're gonna sit there and say, "Well, look what he did. Look what he did. He did this with Cincinnati. He did this with Notre Dame. I mean LSU, but LSU's a different case. No, we're not a different case. You put it into perspective, Cincinnati, when he was at Cincinnati, was in a Conference USA. And when he had Notre Dame, it was a independent fucking school. So they pretty much controlled their schedule. And even then, when they had to play the ACC, that fucking team shit the bed. Like, they did not do great against Clemson's, the Florida States, or Miami. And yet you want to sit there and tell me that it wasn't his fault. And then you get to LSU, and he can't fucking win. There's no way in hell you're supposed to be this offensive guru, and we have no running game for 3 years. 4 years, really, because even this year we didn't really have a running game. 2 years, the running game was Jaden Daniels and nothing else. And in the last 2 years, including this year when you got fired, our running game was literally at the bottom of the fucking totem pole. James Franklin. James Franklin is a Brian Kelly, is a Lane Kiffin. If your shit is destroyed, they can help build it. They can build it back to where it was dominance wise, but never to the point where you believe they could win you anything seriously. This is why I'm very out on Lane Kiffin until I actually physically fucking see it. James Franklin rebuilt Vanderbilt, and then he dipped and went to Penn State. And he rebuilt Penn State to a dominance, competitive stance in the Big Ten after Joe Paterno got fired and passed away. And he rebuilt Penn State, and that was great. But he could never win when it mattered most. He was never going to beat Michigan. He was never going to beat Ohio State. He could beat one, but can't beat the other. And then when Michigan actually got good and competitive, they were literally the third best team in the Big Ten for most of the time. They were the third best team in the Big Ten. There was never going to be a time where you really believed that they were the better team, the best team out of Ohio State and Michigan. I don't care how bad Michigan or Ohio State was. They were never going to be the better team. And then there was years with Wisconsin. You can make an argument Wisconsin is probably better than Penn State. James Franklin built it. He could not win with it. And that is the same thing what Brian Kelly did. You can build it, can't win with it. James Franklin's another one. James Franklin, I think, already got a fucking job. I think James Franklin is coaching at Virginia Tech. Again, going to a smaller kind of conference. You went from the SEC to the Big Ten. Now you're going to the ACC. Could it work? Possibly. But Virginia was a good team this year. Louisville has some, Louisville's pretty good. But Miami is still going to be there with Cristobal, Mario Cristobal. That's going to be there still. Like, Miami still has a good situation. I don't know if James Franklin is going to make Virginia Tech a winning, team when it's all said and done in the ACC, because I just can't see it. Because, like I said, he can build it, he can't win with it, and that's the fucking difference. So great for him to build what Penn State has become. He was just never going to be the best head coach in a conference where you had Urban Meyer when he first got there. Urban Meyer was there. You had then Jim Harbaugh come in. And then you still had to figure out a way to beat those two coaches and keep Wisconsin and Iowa and all these other fucking teams off your ass. Yeah, that wasn't going to end well for you. That wasn't going to end well for you. My underrated player of the year. And that is I don't say her name wrong. I don't want to say her name wrong. Collier. Uh, Nessa Collier. Nepster Collier. Nessa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx. Yes, going back to WNBA. I think her season, if she didn't get hurt, because you forget she got hurt for a good stretch of the season. But before she got hurt, she was literally the MVP. And I love Aja Wilson. But before she got hurt, she was the MVP. Like the way that Minnesota came out the gates after losing the WNBA championship the year prior, she came out like a house on fire. They dominated. They looked great. And for the most part, she played an incredible season. She had an amazing year. Not to mention what she's done off the court with the WNBA and those women trying to help them get better everything in the fucking WNBA. But on the court, she's a fucking beast. Like I am Minnesota Lynx this upcoming year. If she could stay healthy, I think they get at least back to the WNBA championship. Underrated coach of the year, Ime Udoka of the Houston Rockets. Listen, man, great start to the year that Houston's having right now. But from the beginning of this year to the playoffs, this man got the Houston Rockets what the second seed I think it was in the West, second third seed in the West, and they had a young fucking team last year. They still got a young team, even though Kevin Durant's there now, here now. But Ime Udoka has now coached Boston, and he's now coaching Houston. And in the two stops, and so far in his coaching career, he has truly made those franchises better fucking teams. I don't know if the situation that got him fired in Boston is going to happen again in Houston, because Lord knows they got some women down there in Houston. but, but, but I truly believe that Ime Udoka is probably one of the best head coaches in any sport. I think Ime Udoka, he understands his players. He gets them to play for him, run through a wall for him. And to have that young core in Houston last year to believe in self like they did is pretty fucking incredible. And then turn around, bring in a Kevin Durant, which I would have not given up all that shit for Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't have done it. But the season they already having so far this year is showing you that last year was not a fluke. And it isn't just because of Kevin Durant. That team is fucking amazing. I need to go to a game. I'm gonna definitely go check and see how much these tickets are. But definitely next year, 2026, I'm definitely going to a couple of Houston Rockets games. All right. The bad is gone and the good is all here. Now we're officially hit the best of. The best of. Let's get the coach out the way. Coach of the year is Mark Dagnall of the OKC Thunder. OKC is having one of the best starts to a year. Hopefully, don't end like the Golden State Warriors years ended when they were 73-9. But I think that team, and they still have not even got their second, third best player back yet. That's fucking crazy. The fact that they are what 23-1, 24-1, some shit like that, and they don't even have their second to third best player even playing yet. Ain't like he touched the court yet. Whenever he gets healthy, that's a scary fucking team, bro. I keep saying, and people thought I was crazy for saying this, OKC can become the Golden State Warriors of this era. of this generation, of this decade, the OKC Thunder, they drafted fucking well, bro. State Gilgeous-Alexander is a beast. I think they own the Clippers pick this upcoming year, which you can't even do that, man. They own the Clippers pick, I think, outright. I think it's unprotected. And the Clippers season is just fucking going to shit. OKC is just a team, man. And the man at the helm is Mark Dagnall. I know we usually don't give coaches a lot of credit for the structure and all that other shit, especially in the NBA because it's so hard when it's a player driven league. But to pretend like Mark Dagnall isn't one of the best head coaches in the NBA or just in sports right now, with those again, the same thing with Ime Udoka. These are young teams, and they are getting these dudes heavily motivated to go out there and fucking play basketball, bro. And I don't know how the fuck they have done it, but they have fucking done it. And that is the thing. I think the OKC Thunder can become the 20s, the 2020s Golden State Warriors. And here's the thing. I saw this shit coming from Golden State 2 years before they actually even won a championship. I saw that shit coming 2 years before they even won a championship. I think the Thunder is going to be the Golden State. I'm by the end of the 2020s. I think OKC is going to be a dynasty. And the only team that I really do believe that we even give them somewhat of a challenge on that is the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think Dallas. I think Dallas is going to have to rebuild around Cooper Flag because Anthony Davis and Kyrie and Klay Thompson, they're all getting older and they're all going to have to, figure that part out. I think they're getting older and they're going to have to move on from them at some point. Especially if Cooper Flag at some point turns up and just shows everybody, I am the guy. You just got to put the right people around me. The Spurs are the only. Houston is a young team, but I feel like after the Kevin Durant experiment, it depends on where the team is going to be. And I think Thompson and Şengün are two great building blocks. So you got at least that 100% lock the fuck up. But San Antonio is the team that I feel like will give them the most problems because San Antonio is just like them. But outside of that, San Antonio is going to be to the Thunder what the Rockets were for a good stretch of the Warriors times. Or the Thunder was to the Warriors back in the day. Like they're going to be a team that's just there, and you're like, oh my god, we got to play these motherfuckers. We might not get out this shit. We got these motherfuckers. We might not get out this shit. So yeah, man. But I think the Thunder. I think the Thunder could be a dynasty, bro. And I know a lot of people think that's crazy to sit there and say. I think the Thunder's gonna be a dynasty. I think the Spurs are too young still to really rival them. I say give them at least another year, maybe two. This year is gonna be a great year, but the next year, I think we're gonna really see the Spurs and the Thunder rivalry kick the fuck off, and we're gonna be like, woo, we got this for at least the next 4 or 5 years. Hell yeah, sign me up. That's what it's gonna be like. I'm telling y'all this now. It's gonna be like that. But Mark Dagnall is definitely my coach of the year, my player of the year. Is Cal Cal Raleigh, catcher, Seattle Mariners. Cal Raleigh is amazing. I cannot, well, I'm not gonna say I cannot believe. No, I can believe that they would find a way, no matter what, to give the fucking MVP to Aaron Jones, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge winning the MVP again this year. You try to sit there again, like I said, you're trying to move the goalpost because you're trying to say, well, Aaron Judge led everything else except the home runs and RBIs. Aaron Judge don't play fucking catcher. Aaron Judge also missed a good stretch of the fucking season with an injury. So how the fuck are you gonna sit there and tell me a guy that played damn near most of the games and was the fucking premier catcher for all of the fucking games and probably one of the most dominant fucking hitters that we've seen in a very long time, he doesn't win the MVP. You can always get that bitch to Aaron Judge next year. You get that bitch to Aaron Judge for the next 5 years. But this year should have went to Kyle Riley of the Seattle Mariners. That is fucking ridiculous. That you didn't get that man as fucking MVP. I can't even understand that. You could have gave Aaron Judge the next 6, 7 of them bitches. But this year, it should have went to Kyle Riley, bro. Kyle Riley. That's ridiculous. The fact that he also got his team to the fucking ALCS and was one game away from getting to the World Series is fucking beyond me. When Aaron Judge was at home watching that motherfucker with us. Aaron Judge is the modern day Alex Rodriguez, and I don't mean that in a good way. Regular season, he's amazing. Postseason, you're fucking looking for this nigga like he Waldo. The fuck are you talking about? Like, fuck out of here, man. Ain't no way in hell, bro. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. You sitting there trying to tell me that makes a lick of fucking sense. That Cal Riley didn't win the MVP in the AL this year. That's fucking crazy. But he won my player of the year. You definitely won that shit, my brother. You got that. Now let's really get into it. Baseball player of the year. Now, baseball player of the year. And that is Shohei Ohtani. Now, unlike the Cal and Aaron Judge situation, Shohei Ohtani is literally the best baseball player of the modern generation. I'll say that shit. Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player of the modern generation. I said that shit and I mean that shit. There has never been a player, and here's the crazy part: they had to ease him into pitching this year because of his Tommy John surgery. So next year he's gonna be a full flash fucking pitcher for the Dodgers, and a hitter, and an outfielder. That is fucking disturbing. Shohei Ohtani can win the next 7 MVPs, and now with that Dodgers team, that man can literally win the next 3, 4 World Series. He would be considered probably the greatest baseball player of all time. It sounds nuts to say that because what y'all think Aaron Judge is, Shohei Ohtani actually fucking is. That's interesting. That Shohei Ohtani is actually everything that y'all thought Aaron Judge would be. That's kind of weird. That's crazy to me. Didn't this man also have like a record? He broke a record this year. I'm not tripping. I think he broke a record this year. I think he had like 20 homers and 20 steals, some shit like that. Like he had a crazy record that he had broke like 40 homers and 40 steals, some shit like that. It was a wild one. I'm like, yeah, Shohei is the best baseball player, definitely of this generation. I love Mike Trout. I love Bryce Harper. You know, you know, but Shohei is the guy. That's ridiculous. Basketball player of the year. And that is Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers. Now, I know people are going to sit here and get mad at that. Tyrese Halliburton, it should be Luka. It should be Tyrese. Tyrese Halliburton single-handedly brought the Indiana Pacers back to prominence. And I'm not sitting there and shitting on Pascal Siakams and any like that. Tyrese Halliburton is not playing this season, and the Indiana Pacers look like the worst fucking team in the NBA. That is how good that fucking kid is. He was good in Sacramento. Like, this dude is that guy, man. No matter what you feel or say, he can fucking play, bro. I'm not there yet to say he's this generation's Reggie Miller. Fuck no. Reggie Miller is a GOAT. One of my favorite players of all motherfucking time. But Tyrese Halliburton has a chance to be one of the greatest Pacers to ever do it, just like Reggie. Tyrese Halliburton is definitely one of the best players, especially this past year. This man wielded the Pacers to the NBA championship, bro. And if, let's give it a beam. I'm gonna be honest with y'all today. Give it a beam. If he doesn't get hurt in that game 7, the Pacers might have beat the OKC Thunder. Now I think OKC pulls the fuck out. I think OKC would have pulled it out regardless. Because they're at home. The momentum was with them. They had to go into Indiana and win on the road in game 6 and then come home and win one. Tyrese Halliburton, though, is that fucking dude. So we're going to stop pretending like he ain't. Because he is. So Tyrese Halliburton is my basketball player of the year. My fighter of the year. My fighter of the year goes to 2 people. Terrence Bud Crawford and the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. Now, Terrence Crawford, of course, had the biggest win of the year, beating Canelo, who I talked about earlier this episode. But David Benavidez, he different. He built different. He different. He built different. This man has been in the light heavyweight division for the last, 3 fights he's fought. And I think now he's starting to get adjusted to that. You got to realize he had to go to the middleweight division and had to pretty much drain his body for most fights because he was too fucking big. And now he's in a light heavyweight division where he's a little bit bigger. And he's doing exactly what the fuck he did in the middleweight division. Like, he's knocking these motherfuckers out. He just beat Anthony Yardy and knocked his ass out. He finally fought David Morrell earlier this year, and he beat him. Like, he's starting to kind of catch that rhythm, and this is why I said for a long time, David Benavidez is one of my favorite boxers of the year. Like, I'm a huge David Benavidez fan. That's why I kept telling people, like, bro, if Canelo got in the ring with that dude, David Benavidez would have killed him. And Canelo knows that. His chin cannot handle David Benavidez's power. And what have I said about Canelo this episode? He can't fucking handle a jab. And he can't do it. And the most powerful punch, you would think is a hook or something. It's his fucking jab. His jab would stun you and keep you at bay. Like, yeah, man. So David Benavidez is definitely my fighter of the year. So is Terrence Crawford, man. Football player of the year. I can feel the controversy. I can feel the controversy. Oh, I can feel the controversy. The football player of the year goes to Jonathan Taylor. Look at the Colts without him. Look at the Colts with him. Now, a lot of people, I think the Colts season is fucking over this year. It's only so much Jonathan Taylor can fucking physically do on offense before that fucking team just shits the bed. And that was before Daniel Jones got hurt. Jonathan Taylor is literally their offense. And I ain't seen no shit like that since last year with Saquon and Derrick Henry. I think Jonathan Taylor's the best player, man. I think he is. I could have gave this to a quarterback. I could have gave this to a receiver. I could have gave this to a defensive player. But Jonathan Taylor, for a good stretch of 2025, was literally the MVP. And you couldn't tell me that he wasn't. The last couple of weeks, it is what it is. But for a good stretch of this season, there was a time where you could sit and say, Jonathan Taylor's the MVP. He's the MVP. Fuck are we doing? And if he can will the coach to the fucking playoffs, even in this situation, you have to give him the MVP. You have to give him the MVP. Yeah, you have to give him the MVP. Shout out to Jackson Smith Najigba also in Seattle. That motherfucker's a beast. So, and Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Shout out to them. But Jonathan Taylor is my player of the year in the NFL. Where I go next? Let's do this. Franchise of the year, which leads into the leader of the year. So I just do both. Franchise of the year and the leader of the year comes from the same team. My franchise of the year is the Los Angeles Dodgers. And my leader of the year is Dave Roberts, the manager of those Dodgers. Dave Roberts has to, same thing with Ime Udoka and Mark Dagnall. This man has to figure, and it's actually crazier for him because he has to figure out how to make his stars still feel like stars and still put a team around them to win shit. I'm going to be honest. I was rooting for Tampa Bay extremely hard in that World Series. I wanted Tampa Bay to win. I believe that Tampa Bay should have won. They got to the game 7. They had it. Oh my God, bro. They had it. Right the fuck there. And he had it. And this is the thing about a manager. He knew who to put in the situation to get that fucking home run. And they got it. And you're just sitting there like, oh my fucking God. I know they just did not just lose this fucking game. It was heartbreaking if you are a fan of the Tampa Bay Blue Jays or just a fan of an underdog. Oh man, that shit was so fucking heartbreaking. The fucking credit. As much as I do not like the fact that a lot of these fucking players nowadays just go join super fucking teams, especially in fucking baseball, he found a way to make his stars still be stars. Shohei Ohtani is literally the best baseball player in the world. You have the pitcher, also from Japan, who is lights the fuck out. Like, Lord, he put him in the game and it was over. Toronto could do shit. Kind of like reminds me of Madison Bumgarner a decade ago when the Giants were in that type of situation. You got Mookie Betts, who's still one of the best infielders in the league. You have a starting pitching that starts with Shohei now, the dude from Japan, Blake Snell. Who else? They got some fucking body else. He's a good goddamn pitcher too. They got all of that, and this man Dave Roberts had to figure out a way to keep all of them one-minded, and it's team, not you, team. That is crazy, and he has figured it the fuck out. Freddie Freeman, one of the greatest Braves of all time. Freddie Freeman has now won 2 World Series in back-to-back years since he's been a part of the Dodgers, including the Braves one. Like, man, oh man, oh man. Dave Roberts, and like I said, I don't like the Dodgers as much as everybody else do. I don't fucking like them bitches. But I give credit where credit is due. And that's exactly what it is, man. They did what I didn't think it was, and that is the franchise of the year is the Dodgers. And the leader of the year is Dave Roberts. I gotta give him this credit, and I gotta give them their credit. Team of the year goes in also with my superstar of the year. I'm gonna do it. I did it with the leader in the franchise. I'm doing it with the team and the superstar of the year. And for me, the team, the superstar, Team is the OKC Thunder, and my superstar of the year is clearly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, it's funny how social media likes to victimize and blame and talk crazy and reckless about players when certain ones start to reach a certain position where they didn't think they can reach. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the perfect example of a dude who's had. You got to realize when he first got into the league, he was drafted by the Clippers. You realize that, right? He was drafted by the Clippers and then was traded and then was traded in the Paul George trade to get him to come and play with Kawhi. That shit clearly did not work the fuck out. But Shai Gilgeous was the first building block of the OKC Thunder. That team that we have now was built from that trade. Everything about that trade, still to this day, like I literally just said, the fucking Clippers still owe these motherfuckers a draft pick. Still to this day, the OKC Thunder is still building the fucking franchise. Chad Holmgren, Jalen Williams, both Williams, both of the Williams. I mean, literally, man, that fucking team is still. You got Hartenstein, like, bro, like the Thunder, like I said, can be a dynasty. They just have, and they got a good stretch of time before the Spurs really wake the fuck up and become something. But the Thunder is the perfect fucking team moving forward in the NBA. They have the same field structure as the Rockets. The Rockets, a lot of mercy. As the Warriors, I should say, from back in the early 2010s. They have the same field, same structure, draft, everything, right? And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is that Steph Curry. He's their building block. He's their number one guy. A lot of people can move on. Klay Thompson, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, all these other players. But the OKC Thunder has that type of feeling where dynasties can be made with them. That team is incredible. It's incredible. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the leader of said team. And that is why he is my superstar of the year. And they are my team of the year. My athlete of the year. Drum roll, please. My athlete of the year is Terrence Bud Crawford. Mr. Undefeated, was undisputed middleweight champion. Listen, man, they took the belt, but they can't now take that accomplishment, man. You single-handedly have dominated every division you've been in. You are undefeated, sir. You have toppled the untoppable. A lot of people will sit here and try to make up excuses and tell you all this other shit. I am one of those guys. I was looking forward to the Errol Spence fight. I went there with my uncle and my brother and everybody, and we was in a club and we was watching this fight. And by the fucking second round, when he hit him and put his ass on the ground, it was over. And we kind of knew it. It was like, oh shit, this ain't good. Like, oh shit, this ain't good. Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't want to say the thing about when somebody is that great, that legendary, somebody that does what he did to Canelo Alvarez on that night where every single fucking person was tuning in to watch it. Bud showed up and showed out like he always does. Like I said, they can strip the tie, they can take the belt, but they can't take your accomplishment. You beat the favorite. You beat their guy. You beat the one that everybody kept screaming is the best of all time and all this other goofy shit. And your legacy got cemented. And that's what the fuck you're supposed to do. You didn't run from the challenge. You embraced it. And that is why I have you as the athlete of the year. Because at the end of the fucking day, bro, nobody's done what Terrence Bud Crawford has done in boxing in the last couple of years. Like I said, as much as people want to say, oh, Canelo's fought everybody. No, the fuck he hasn't. He ducked David Benavidez. No matter what the fuck you want to say, he ducked him. He ducked him. He ducked David Morrell. He ducked him. Bud Crawford, every person they put in that ring with that man, he has whooped their ass. It don't matter who. Earl Spence, Sean Porter, Sean Porter, Canelo Alvarez. Name him, he's knocked him the fuck down. Put him in the ring, they're gonna lose. Bud is that dude. I listen. I hate having a debate about greatness. Would Bud beat Floyd? I don't know if he could. And it's not because I don't think Bud has the power and anything like that. Floyd defensively was so fucking sound that I don't think Bud can actually catch him. That's the fucking difference. I think if you actually watch the real Floyd fight, you know Floyd was just defensively sound. Could Crawford catch him at some point? Yeah, probably. Would he? No. If you put Bud in the ring with, Sugar Ray Leonard, could he have caught Sugar Ray Leonard? Probably. Wouldn't be surprised. But Sugar Ray Leonard also a really incredible defensive sound fucking boxer. You can't talk greatness and not have Bud in it now. And that's where the conversation really leads itself. To be a 3-divisional undisputed champion is fucking crazy. That is nuts. That's never happened in boxing. And I'm here to tell y'all, that probably will never happen in fucking boxing ever again. And Bud is the only man that can stake claim to that. So he is definitely the athlete of the year. Let me see how I did, everybody. Yep, did everything. All right. That's it. That is the I Bleed Sports year. I'll be back in 2026 to do, college playoffs, NFL playoffs, NBA, MLB, get boxing in here, WNBA, do some WNBA by the time I get back next year. College basketball will definitely be in full swing with the conference. Yeah. So that's it, man. Hope you guys enjoy this. I'm Brandon Janeau. I Bleed Sports Awards 2025. Thank you and shout out to everybody on this list. I know you probably don't know who the fuck I am. I know who y'all are. And I appreciate y'all for being great and doing what y'all have done this year. It's up to Kansas City Chiefs, Canelo Alvarez, and Arch Manning, Brian Kelly, and James Franklin. Y'all go kiss my ass. Y'all can kiss my ass. Fuck y'all. Outside of that, peace.